So this time around, I thought it would be kind of fun if I actually bring you along with me as I'm breaking down the images and trying to make decisions about like what references and shapes to bring into the actual character design. That way I can deliberate a little bit more, and also you can better understand how I get from point A to point B. Alright, first up we got this one submitted by Elias, and I selected this one just because it's got a good mix of colors. There's a lot of contrast going on. So first up, something I'm seeing, contrast. I do not know exactly what is going on with these two insects here, but another word that comes to mind is sort of like a symbiotic relationship. Maybe these two characters rely on each other for some reason. Something else I'm seeing is characters that are like physically connected in some way. That might be an interesting little theme to play with. Something else that I think is fun is like physically in this image it looks like this bug is giving this bug like a piggyback ride. So to me that feels very much like a kind of innocent and cute connection between these two characters, and I am thinking these are two separate characters, so maybe this is like a brother-sister dynamic. I think that would be really cute. I think that kind of connection could also really play into like the color palette going on here, because we have like a lot of subdued colors, warm browns, like not a lot of like bold pastels going on with this character, and then with this character it's just pastels, very kind of cutesy, and then also with like the big eyes and the sort of like cute silhouette. I could see this character being very much like a cute character here and like a more rugged, protective character here. I already love them. So next we have this one submitted by Official Bug Catcher. I don't know what your actual username is, but I absolutely love this image, as I'm sure you guys could have guessed, because it's just so creepy and cute at the same time. So right off the bat, I'm thinking someone who is like right in the middle of that cute slash creepy dynamic. And kind of jumping off of that, I'm also thinking someone who has a balance between masculine and feminine design, language, and traits. Maybe like a pastel goth aesthetic. This aesthetic kind of reminds me of like those yandere characters. Think like Toga from My Hero Academia. I can't think of other ones, but I don't know if that's how you spell yandere, but someone who's just kind of horrifying. You know what I'm talking about, like an April Ludgate archetype on the inside and like a punk mixed with Sailor Moon on the outside. Something else that I'm kind of noticing here is a lot of the shape language is either kind of sharp or boxy. You know, these cherries and some of these things are kind of round, but all of them have sharp edges in some ways. Like these definitely have some edges on them even though they're cherries. They're not perfectly round objects, so I think the shape language I would give for this character is something along these lines. And then down here is just a silly thing. I put quiet, always thinking of murder, likes to bake. I feel like that's the essence of this character that I'm getting so far. So this one is from Winter, and I chose this reference because, first of all, it's maximalism, so of course I like it. But I also wanted a character in the group that presented in more of like a mature way. Something that's just like a little bit more classy. Maybe this is an older character too. I'm thinking this character has a lot of graceful energy. Calm but wise. Maybe they have a lot of thoughts because there's a lot going on in this image. Maybe there's a lot of complexity there. So something I'm noticing about this image is there's just a lot of flowing interconnected lines all over the place. A lot of swooshiness, so a lot of shapes that are circular and kind of flowing together. There's also a couple of shapes that are a little bit more square, but they still fit into this like very orderly designed kind of personality. So maybe orderly but adaptable. Maybe that could be a character trait for this person. I also love the strong color palette that's going on here. Like we have a lot of beautiful like teals and blues and golds coming together. And then we also have white. So once again, we have like a lot of contrast going on here. And also a lot of colors that are like very complementary. I'm also seeing maybe like some ancient Roman and Greek inspired architecture going on here. I could be totally off base, but that's sort of what I'm noticing. And some of this also looks a little bit Rococo. And I'm also seeing some like maybe mermaid motifs and some nautical influences here. So I'm also writing statue, rococo, and mer person. And fish? Question mark? Maybe they're kind of a fishy character with some kind of water ability or something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. So something else that I really love to do whenever I have two images that aren't quite giving me all of the information that I would maybe want to design a character, but I still really like, and I think go well together, is just use both of them as inspiration for a character that I'm designing. And I think that these go so well together. Let me explain. So I feel like this character would be some kind of interdimensional traveler, have some kind of like portal ability. You can see that already going on in like this image here. It feels like a character kind of reaching through a body of water or a portal. And I love how on this image you have something that is red kind of reaching through a body of water that has more of a cool tone. And up on this image, you have a red body of water surrounded by things that are cool tone. So maybe these dimensions are sort of like connected. They definitely have some kind of, I don't know, like maybe warm-cold dynamic. If I could write properly, that would be nice. I just love the contrast between like white and red together. It's giving the opening of Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. I feel like this character is also kind of like sinister and demonic. Like, I mean, look at that hand. Look at those nails. Now that is the nail job of like a cool villain, a queen. They're definitely like a darker character. Maybe they don't have like the most altruistic motivations. Maybe they're there to like stir things up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe they're just chaotic evil, you know? Maybe they can travel through bodies of water or something like that. And also maybe whenever they travel through the body of water, maybe it changes color and gets corrupted. Maybe that's why it's red here and why it's more of like a cool tone here. I also feel like this character in appearance would maybe be a little bit more vague, maybe faceless. I think they would definitely look a little bit scary. Maybe they're like a hooded character. They would need to be hooded for like all of that snow in that cold environment. So I feel like this is a good basis. Is this our next sleep paralysis demon? Perhaps. If that Night Swim movie that just came out was about this character, I think it would have been a far cooler movie. So of course I had to do this one. It was just such a striking image. I think that it's the coolest thing, and I think it fits in really well with our whole amusement park prompt because, you know, you think of like fire performers and people who twirl big sticks around that are lit on fire. I think that's like the coolest thing. So maybe how this character fits into the whole amusement park dynamic is they're like a fire dancer or something. I mean, obviously with this image we can see that the sun is a theme, but also maybe dusk. There's a lot of like duality being captured in this. I think that that could be a super cool theme for this character. Maybe creation, destruction, that sort of thing. As you can see on this side of the image we have plant growth. That could represent life, creation. And then on this side, as the fire burns, we've got just destruction. And you know, that's also the clear duality between the setting sun and the night coming in. Again, look at me explaining the reason why this image even exists. Like, it's a super cool concept. And over here, because I thought it was hilarious, I feel like this kind of matched the concept that like this is going for, because we have a little plant guy and he's smoking a cigarette. So he's kind of setting himself on fire, which is weird. So maybe this is like a wildfire themed character or something like that. Maybe they're also a botanist, or they love nature and plants, but they also have like fire abilities, so they have a tendency to set things on fire and cause deforestation or something like that. They're just at war with these two sides of themselves. The side that has a passion for fire dancing and performing and is, you know, a little accident prone whenever it comes to that, and the side of them that is passionate about nature and plants. And obviously, whenever a character has that much duality, they're gonna be emo about it. For sure. This character is the epitome of inside of you there are two wolves. That's basically what I'm getting at here. And finally, we have my pride and joy, perhaps my favorite combination in this entire episode. We've got this little casket guy, this Undertaker fella that was submitted by Will, and then we have perhaps the cutest plushie that I have ever seen, submitted by Caleb. And if these two just don't go together perfectly, I don't know what does. So once again, hey, we've got for sure a theme of duality going on here. Or at the very least, we've got some contrast. I also think this would be a great opportunity to make a character that's just really big. That would be another great way to show contrast within the group, just to have a gigantic character that's also very fluffy. A character that also has a strong shape. I feel like this character has a big potential to have like just a super strong silhouette, because here we've got shapes that are circular and also kind of square at the same time. And then also, I feel like this casket is also both kind of circular and kind of square. You have more of an arch at the top with square edges. So I feel like this character would be kind of a big, fluffy, lovable himbo type, but also an Undertaker, kind of a Grim Reaper of sorts, but a nice one. I feel like this coffin could also weirdly play into the whole time reversal thing. I don't know how I'm gonna work that into the story of this group of characters, but maybe if a character gets injured or is close to death, this character can kind of put him in the coffin, and whenever the time gets reversed, maybe they can get healed or get revived or something like that. So I'm just gonna write here, respawn coffin. I feel like this guy would have the power to do that because he's a Grim Reaper. Maybe you die and it's not your time and he's like, sorry, gotta send you back. I also feel like this character might be a magician's assistant archetype as well. Maybe this coffin is worked into the like sawing a lady in half trick. I think that would be kind of amusing. So that is this guy. I feel like he's gonna be my favorite character out of the group. I already just wanna hug him,